Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brett Keene from GodTVRadio.com. I'm going to be putting a link in the comments as well as description of the video site that I post all my videos to. Sure, I'll upload them over to YouTube and then I'll let them sit for a few days, but they all end up on BitChute. Why? Because I like it. I like archiving my videos. And I actually like the audience over at BitChute more than I like YouTube. Just a different type of people. Just a lot nicer, and I love the way the comment section is up. I had a guy recently post like a shitload of imagery and comments to my video that had nothing to do with my video or my content whatsoever, but I like the imagery. And I like the fact that someone literally spent an hour just posting over 50 comments on it. And it wasn't all the same thing. It wasn't spam. It was incoherent. It was ridiculous, but interesting nonetheless. And I like interesting. I like weird. And sometimes I even like crazy. There's a good kind of crazy and there's a bad kind of crazy, folks. I think there's two of everything out there when you think about it. Well, as many of you know, I used to have a guy by the name of Smokey Saint who would come on to my live podcast, as well as the podcast I was doing with Sister Sunshine TV. And he originally showed up on Discord whenever I was doing some of the stuff. Remember, I was recording Discord and playing it over my stream. Well, I liked him because I thought he had a good voice. I thought that he was an all-right person, but I did realize from the get-go he was a person who spent a lot of time talking about how he felt that he was basically the only Christian on earth who was decent and all that. I mean, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I complain about Christians and atheists and people of all different religions. But I'm also the same guy who will tell you I'm a fucked up person with a lot of fucked up ideas with a really fucked up existence. I am self-aware that I have my problems and my issues. But there's some people out there where they can do drugs all their life. They can beat the shit out of people, act totally fucking corrupt and disgusting, and then they find Jesus. And then all of a sudden they think that they're some kind of prophet or some kind of revolutionary. They think to themselves that somehow they're great and everybody else is below them. Everybody else is devils and demons in disguise and shit. How many of you ran into Christians like that? Where you know them historically, you know that they were awful, fucking terrible people, and that the only difference between what they are now from what they were then is now they've taken upon a new label, and now they use their new philosophy or new way of life to do what they've always done, and that's manipulate and fuck with people. Well, this clown ends up sending me an email, and it's called, Brett Keene, you're a terrible fucking person. And why does he think I'm terrible? Because my theology doesn't agree with him. I don't like his behavior. I don't like how he is. I don't hold his history against him, even though he's got a pretty dark past. According to even him, his own admittance, he has a rap sheet. He's been in jail. I've never done any kind of jail time. I don't go out and violently hurt people. And it's just recently that I actually had me a Coca-Cola and a Jack Daniels. I haven't had alcohol for years. If anybody looks back in my history of video making, you'll find one single video where I'm drinking some kind of snot shit. And that was like in my first year or two of doing YouTube. And I've been around for over a decade. So that's almost 10 fucking years since I've had me a drink. Besides coffee. But he branded me as one of the most evil, fucking terrible people in the world. And it's because I exposed him. I exposed what a treacherous piece of manipulative shit that he is. He's angry at me because he felt that I should just sit back and let Von Helton, who is an old man with children, who's trying to do the best he can to father his kids, he thinks I should just sit back and let people mutilate and destroy and abuse Von Helton. I've already told Von Helton to his face. I said, Von, I don't agree with everything that you say, and I know that some of this shit just seems like it's kind of made up, some of the ways that you do things, but I've come to the conclusion that Von's got a lot of problems, and it makes him feel good to tell stories and do what he does. I know a lot of atheists, as well as religious people out there, who make videos where they make shit up about themselves, and they say things about themselves or claim that they worked certain jobs or did certain things in their life that they never fucking done at all. But instead of just sitting there making fucking videos all day about every fucking lying piece of trash on the internet, I try to be nice. I try to be decent with folks. But I do have my line drawn in the sand. And Von Helton's never even come close to pissing me off to a point where I've ever felt like, you know what, I've had it with Von. Never. Von's a good guy. He's an interesting guy. He's got a lot of problems. But I think we all got problems. We all got shit that fucks us up. And we all like to delude ourselves into believing that we're more than what we are. We like to amplify who we actually are. But let's talk about this a little bit. Am I a terrible person? Has anybody ever taken a real deep look at some of the people who accuse me of being a horrific, terrible person? I mean, let's think about this for a minute. I don't go out into the world and hurt people. I spend most of my time at home, or I'll go out every once in a while to a movie or do something nice with my wife and kids. I take care of my family. I have a vast amount of friends in my personal life. It only seems to be on the internet when trying to trust people or put my faith into people whenever I make mistakes. Let's take a look at some of the people I've dealt with. First, we'll start with G-Man. G-Man is a guy who was supposed to be working a job, but instead he spent all of his days making videos, recording himself at his workplace, going off for an atheist. And what did atheists do? They figured if you want to play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. They called up his job. They showed the videos that G-Man recorded to the boss, and the boss fired him immediately, where then G-Man ends up out on the fucking street because he can't afford his rent. A 40-year-old man walking in a fucking snow vortex because of the choices and decisions he made. Are the atheists who did it any better? Are they nice? Was that the right thing to do? Who knows? According to atheists, there is no objective right or wrong. There is no objective good or bad. Everything just happens as it goes, or nothing more than stimulated slime. Let's take a look at Happy Cabby, a 500-pound man that had thousands of children subscribed to him because they wanted to watch him make fucking balloon videos. And what did that guy do? He ended up making videos, putting on lipstick and putting on his underwear and jumping up and down on a fucking bed until he bent the frame until the end of it ended up touching hell. And people are mad at me about this guy. Then let's not forget TJ Kirk, a man who's got a micromanagement penis and sticks bananas in his fucking asshole, and who is repeatedly on a consistent basis says that he's attracted to girls that are underage, even goes so far into describing in vast detail about their vaginas and their breasts and everything else. But I'm the fucking bad guy. Really? Is that really what it is? Let's take a look at Paul's ego. Paul's ego has thrown his life away. His entire job is to get fucking fat and sit on a podcast and fucking insult the piss out of everybody out there that he sees. But will he ever talk about the fact that he cheated on his wife? Will he ever talk about the fact that when she left, he had no home to go to? Because she was taking care of everything and was responsible for all things? Is he going to talk about the fact that the girlfriend that he ended up hooking up with was a girl that he ended up getting out of a mental hospital? Using her, manipulating her, using her for a sexual object on the internet? And then, of course, she ended up leaving because even in her crazy-ass state, she realized that Paul's ego is no good for her. I mean, really, ladies and gentlemen, if you really sit back and think about what Brett Keane has actually done compared to what he's been accused of, and then turn around and take a real deep look at some of the people out there who've made accusations, I'll give you another example. Coughlin used to say the most horrible things about me. This is a guy that tattooed a Nazi symbol on his fucking forehead and put 666 in his ID, clearly showing that he worshipped and served the devil. But I'm the bad guy because some fucking weirdo who's got a birthmark that looks like a shit stain on his cheek says so. Literally, ladies and gentlemen, I could go on all fucking day pointing out the people out there, the droves of animals and shit who have made false accusations, called me a terrible person, said that I was better off dead than alive. And I cannot believe for the life of me that there's so many people out there with this high school mentality. You see, there's like a couple handfuls of YouTubers out there who like to run their mouth about me. The true massive amount of people that are giving me shit are these same people's followers. And what do we say about followers, ladies and gentlemen? What do we say about sheep who follow a dark shepherd? What do we say about that? These people are literally waiting to be commanded and told to go do terrible things, whether they know you or not. And people buy it. People do that. It's the same way whenever you're in high school. If you have some fucking asshole, about 5 bullies who are constantly trying to pick on someone and give them shit, and then the other students just kind of stand around in a circle watching as the shit goes down, and they don't give a fuck or do anything about it. Which is one of the main reasons why I've come to a point where I don't trust a lot of Christians as well as atheists out there, because you both suffer from the same human behaviors, the instinct to just sit back and allow people to get fucking murderized, mutilated, destroyed. And you do nothing about it except for hold up your cell phones and record the whole event and then go on to uploading it so you could talk about what an experience it was for you and how interesting, and then try to justify why it's okay for people to circle around someone and whip the shit out of them over and over and over. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I have my depression. I have severe depression. There's some days where it's hard for me to wake up in the morning. But nowhere during any of this chemical imbalance does my brain tell me that I'm a fucking piece of shit and I deserve to be fucking abused or treated wrongly. Nowhere in my brain does it ever click and say, wow, all these fucking historically terrible, awful people who have got a rap sheet the size of a fucking phone book have made any point whatsoever in my humanity and me as a person. I know who I am, I know what I think, I know what I believe, and I know the facts of what I understand. It is what it is, and you'll never be able to change it about me. The fact that Smokey Saint actually sent me a big long fucking novel's worth of insults over a bad time in a fucking podcast, actually believing in his mind that I was going to read the whole thing from fucking beginning to end and actually give a rat's ass, is a true shocker to me. He really doesn't know me. The moment I read a couple sentences where somebody calls me a fuckhead or a loser or anything like that, that's the end of my reading material. I go on to playing Fallout 76, or I go play my favorite video game, and that's the end of the story. And you might get a 10-minute video where I fucking laugh in your face about it, and that is it. So, Smokey, I went ahead and blocked you on my email. You go ahead and write your mama about your problems, because I don't give a fuck. And I've also hid you as a user on my fucking YouTube account, so any comments you leave, nobody will even see it. No one will even care. And we both know that you don't have the balls to make your own fucking videos or talk about your own topics and have the courage to put your own views out, even though I've tried repeatedly to support you in the past whenever I did kind of like you. We know that that'll never happen for you. You'll sit over there, you'll end up fucking stewing in your own bullshit, and you'll probably go out and end up punching someone and end up in jail again. Well, you get one call, remember it. Make it a right one. God bless.